Hello, fellow investors. This is your host Mandeep, and I'm here with another tutorial. And what we'll do today is, hopefully keep this short, no more than 4 to 6 minutes, and talk about how you can introduce automation in your day-to-day trading and use that to triumph over your emotions. Given the turbulent nature of the market, right? So you heard a lot of news that the market's going to go to 2,500, or it's going to ramp up in the year. And to be honest, I personally don't have any kind of projections of where the market is going to go. I basically tend to react to the levels and play those accordingly. I'm also very quick in terms of reversing my decisions in case I find myself being on the wrong side of the trade, right? And so in order to simplify that, obviously automated my buy and sell strategy in a way that I don't have to worry about what's happening minute to minute or every half an hour in the market. And I'm going to show you a little technique that you can use in conjunction with your sort of favorite indicators that you have. So what I do on a daily basis is I use a criteria to come up with a day trading list. And this day trading list obviously is dynamic in nature. It's based on a certain criteria, and I'll talk a little bit about what those criteria are. So one of the things I'm looking for is that each of these stocks have something in common. So if you look at the monthly chart on these, you will see that each of them are trading higher than the high of the previous month, right? So the close here is higher than the previous month. And this is actually true across all of these stocks, right? So this already tells you that, these are sort of in a positive trend. Then I also, use the weekly criteria in addition to the monthly criteria. And you will also realize that all of these stocks have the same thing in common, right? Each of them has a close which is higher than the high of the previous month here, right? So now, when you have that situation, you have sort of the time continuity in your favor. So you're basically looking for stocks which is closing higher than the previous month, higher than the previous week, and higher than the previous day as well. So, and then if you want to drill down even further, like into a 60-minute chart or a 30-minute chart, then it further sort of solidifies your conviction that all the time frames are in your favor. Now, what I like about this list is that, out of a universe of whatever 14,000 stocks that you have, I am looking at just 14 or 15 stocks in a day, and makes it much easier, to pick what you want to do from a day trading perspective. So one of the things that I'm very fond of is, and this is called the opening range breakout, which is a 30-minute breakout that you have. Now I'll show that to you on a 15-minute chart. So whichever stocks have one associated with it have all gotten past their 30-minute orb, right? So it's the first 30-minute range that's established, and if that's taken out, then you can actually take a long position, right? And in addition to that, I have these automated signals, which is based on a fairly complex criteria, I would say, because something that I've developed over the last couple of years, because it's looking at things like, is the stock over the Ichimoku cloud multiple time frames? Is the MACD in your favor on your multiple time frames? It's looking at stocks that have an average trading volume of at least 600,000, and it's looking at stocks which have a daily trading range of at least 1.5, right? So between the high and low, the difference is at least 1.5. And then on top of that, you're looking at stocks that are trading above all of the major moving averages. So once you use that criteria, you're left with sort of a handful of stocks, right? And then, I've written a little signal called the USIG, which basically stands for the ultimate signal. And I'm looking at criteria such as obviously the Ichimoku cloud, and I'm looking at, where is the stock closing in comparison to the last sort of 26 days, so on and so forth. And based on that, I get a 1, 0, or -1, right? So in this column, I'll show you, because these are all sort of on the day trading list that's actually on the long side, right? So once you have that list, and if you go back and look at sort of your day, So I get a signal like this, right? So once you get a signal, and you can see this is currently in play with a profit of $3.85 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, right? So the 5 days, as you know, the market hasn't actually been very constructive, and despite that, there'll always be some stocks that are going to be trading counter to the market, right? So in this market, as you know, defensive stocks are good, such as consumer staples or the healthcare stock, right? So some of those are actually doing well. Now, if you just by introducing automation, right, what you're doing is you're just not worrying too much about what the market conditions are. Although, I mean, I personally like to see the market sort of to be in my favor, but in this current environment, right? I mean, I still end up picking these stocks, and the only thing that I do differently in a versus a bullish market is just trade them small, right? I just don't want to assume a lot of risk. In general, most of my position, I would say 95% of the position over the last couple of weeks, or even I would say a little over a month, has all been in cash, right? So I've got very little in my IRA account, very little in my trading account. I'm just trying to do more day trading and just staying afloat, and just hoping that we don't sort of have a big crash. So as you can see, this trade, which was triggered, had a profit of $3.85. And another trade that's currently in play with $1.61 in profit, and this is still long. This is another trade in the Dell Technologies, which was initiated a couple of days back, which is up $3.61. This is one trade that I'm currently in, and this has actually done quite well. So the buy was triggered here, which has a profit of $10. And then we can go, keep going down the list. This has no trade on it, so I'm not going to dwell on it. Here's another trade on Procter Gamble, which is just using this automated signal, is up $6.74, and another one on Pinnacle West doing quite well with with a profit of $1.39. THS, which just opened today, basically because it was triggered yesterday, but it actually starts to calculate from the following days. It's got no position right now in it. So this is yet another trade with in Alta, which has a profit of $10. And this is a trade that actually triggered today, right, on AAP. Now we can further drill these down. So I mean, each of these, I'll just go down the list, and this one is profitable about $3.38, 27 cents, $2.72, and 307. Now, the reason why it's producing so many winners is because by default you're already picking up stocks that are up on, up on multiple time frames, and they're meeting a set of criteria, right? Because they're trading over all the major moving averages, they're trading over the Ichimoku cloud, and the time continuity is precisely in your favor. Now, if you can, if you want, you can also drill down into the 30-minute chart, right, and see how some of these are doing, right? So in this case, it's got a profit of $2.40, right? This one actually closed, right? So it started trading here at roughly 48.96, and it closed at 51. So it was like 1 to 3 days of profit. And the other trades will have sort of similar criteria. You got traded here, you got stopped out here. Clearly, when you're in 30-minute time frame, you're going to get stopped out, and you'll have more trades versus when you're trading sort of on the day time frame. And lastly, what we can do is we can look at the entire S&P 500 as well, right? So one of the ways it helps me during the day is that when I look at stocks that already have this signal one, which means they're already meeting this bullish criteria here, and on top of that, they're breaking above the orb, right? The opening range breakout. Those become some of the candidates that I can, take sort of long positions on, right? And so this one's actually got no trade, and we'll just look at some random examples here to see. So no trade on this either. Right now. Here's a trade with the G, which initiated a buy, which has a profit of negative 33 cents right now. Here's an example of Starbucks, but we can look at Starbucks on a daily time frame. And the trade was triggered here and has a net profit of $8.41. And these are the stocks that sort of are more on the negative side, right? I mean, we can look at, and these are negative more on a shorter time frame, like the 15-minute time frame, right? And so no trade on this one, no trade. This is one that just initiated, got a short initiated. All right, we'll see how it ends up doing over the next couple of days. So yeah, so this is another trade that's currently in play on Fox with a profit of 28 cents. So although it gives you sort of an overview of on which side the stocks are. So if you look at the overall market today, and if you just sort this out by the orb, right, and you see how many stocks actually broke the opening range breakout out of 100 stocks, it's just a handful, right? Majority of them are in zero straight, which is pretty normal, right? Which means they stayed in the range that was established in the first 30 minutes. And these are all the stocks that are sort of negative, right? This also helps you gauge the market, right? When you look at like 70% of the stocks actually trading below the orb, the market's actually in a downtrend, right? And you've got to be a little bit more careful with your longs, and vice versa is true as well, right? So once majority of your stocks are trading above the opening range breakout, you can sort of make a good assumption on where the market is. I'm going to show you one last thing, and that's actually something that I wasn't planning to discuss in detail, but I think you might find it useful, right? So let's look at the chart for the ES for today. And so here's the chart for the E-mini futures, right? I actually don't trade them, but this is something that is constantly on my radar when it comes to sort of trading, right? So this is what happened in the overnight trading, right? So basically this pink line is the overnight high, and the line below is the overnight low, and this green line is the previous day high, which is the Monday high, and this was the Monday low, right? And so one of the things you will see, and this section in the black is your regular trading day for today. So what happened today, right? So the market opened, it drops, it hits the overnight low at this roughly close to this pink line, right? It rebounds and it hits the overnight high, right? It takes it out a little bit, right? And that's typically what happens. They'll try and maybe give you the illusion it's going to take off, and then what happens? It goes down, and it can't take out the overnight low, right? So I was actually tempted a couple times to try, and even though I had a short signal that got generated here, I did not take this short because of the fact that the overnight low wasn't violated, right? So it couldn't take it out. So just sort of keeping these levels, right, in view when you trade is something that you'll find very helpful. So I'll do some more tutorials in the near future. I'll tell you a little bit about some of these indicators, which are more focused on sort of short-term trading, right? So when all of these sort of are aligned in the negative side, then the market's really not in your favor. So until next time, have a wonderful trading week.